Southeast and in investing in you and offering this time for us to come together and learn together and network. So thank you to our platinum sponsors. All right. And also, I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to share with you something that is very near and dear to my heart because it's my story. It's the story of the 5 simple steps that you can take to build for yourself a Salesforce career. And I actually wanted to title this speech, this conversation between us a little bit differently, but for brevity, I had to change my title. And so I want to show you what I actually wanted this title to be. The 5 steps to jumpstart your Salesforce career and how to find or create a position that builds highly sought after skills, is fun, challenging, and fulfilling, and create an acclaimed personal brand and pays more than you ever thought possible. Yeah. So let's break this down and get rolling. I believe there's some introductions in place before we do begin. My name is Chad Sills, and back in 2009, I was working as a janitor, paying my way through school at Liberty University. And it was during this time that I learned that there is not necessarily the same return on investment for all work. And so although I may have enjoyed mopping floors and cleaning toilets, and although it did win me a beautiful wife, because I promised that I would mop the floors and clean the toilets, it wasn't preparing me for success in my career. And although I was investing a number of hours and time into that, it wasn't preparing me for my career path. And so what I began doing is I left after leaving the janitorial service. I joined the Red Cross, started working at the Alabama chapter of the American Red Cross. And it was there that I fell in love with Salesforce because we built a volunteer management system while I was there that allowed us to better manage and utilize our volunteers using the Salesforce platform. And so what that means is on a Friday night when we received a call that a house was burning, we were able to log into Salesforce quickly from our mobile application and find the volunteer that would be most able to respond to that matter. And so I fell in love with the cloud because I recognized its quick and efficient and effective ability to solve the business problems. And in that situation, we were actually able to not only resolve the business need, but we were able to meet the needs of the community. And that's a theme of Salesforce, and it's probably a theme that you'll hear today, is that Salesforce leverages itself in the business setting, but it also leverages itself so well in meeting the needs of the community. And so after I left the Red Cross, I took a brief stint. I worked at Apple. And then after Apple, I started working for a company in Birmingham called Daxco, and we're a software development company. And I've held a number of titles while I was there, 2 of which are Salesforce admin and now the role that I have of Salesforce architect. And it was in these last 3 years at Daxco that I began betting my career on the expansion of the Salesforce ecosystem. And it was 3 years ago that I made that bet, and fortunately that bet has paid off very, very well. And I believe that you can make that same bet right now, and because of this white-hot market that we're in, that we have an opportunity to get in at an early level of something that is rapidly expanding. And so I do work at Daxco. I am a Salesforce architect, and I'm 5 times certified, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about my story. All right, so let's talk about the demand for Salesforce. So Salesforce is the world's #1 CRM platform. It's the #1 most innovative company in the world. There's 200,000 plus customers. 24,000 of those are in the nonprofit sector or the higher ed sector. And in 2007, they have a projected revenue of $8 billion. And then there's this entity called the App Exchange, where in it right now, there's 2,700 standalone applications. And so when you hear App Exchange, think what you have on your phone, the App Store, except the App Exchange is that for business. And so just to give you kind of a microcosm of what we're talking about here, in 2014, 2015, in Austin, Texas, we saw a 54% growth in the need for Salesforce professionals. And so within the last few years, this market is booming. Sales are increasing for the cloud-based ecosystem, specifically for Salesforce, and the need for Salesforce professionals is also increasing. And a recent survey by Intuit showed that 78% of all U.S. small businesses will be in the cloud by 2020, as opposed to the 34% that are in the cloud today. So there's big numbers there. There's a lot of opportunity for us, for the Salesforce professional, to get in at the ground level of these organizations as they're beginning to implement these cloud-based tools and then as they need to manage them. And so this is evidenced by a simple search of any job search tool. So if you go online and you're looking for a job, it's specifically a job in the technical space, what you're most likely going to find is Dice.com. Dice.com is one of the premier online job seeking applications, and the CEO and president of Dice.com, who is Shravan Goli, once said, "Two trends are driving demand for Salesforce: the sprawl of cloud computing and the resulting increase of Salesforce.com implementations. And businesses need to foster more intimate relationships with customers and analyze the data associated with those relationships. As implementations of the CRM tool increase, companies require tech professionals who can customize Salesforce as well as ensure the solutions are scalable." So not only is Salesforce the preeminent cloud solution with an incredible backlog of sales, an incredible explosion of sales in our market, but there's also a need for implementation experts because of those sales, but there's also a need of, once the tool has been implemented, there needs to be professionals that can come behind the implementation experts and manage the tools. And Salesforce is a very, very sticky application, and it's sticky in that once it has been implemented, it becomes the lifeblood of your organization. At Daxco, we call it our wall-to-wall system, because from the very beginning of a conversation with our lead to the very last conversation that we have before a customer walks out of our door, those interactions are housed in Salesforce. And so all of our teams, wall-to-wall at Daxco, are inside of Salesforce to interact with our customer and to move our business forward. And so Salesforce is a very sticky application. And what this says is that 66% of companies believe that Salesforce delivers more value today than it did 1 year ago. And this came from the 2016 State of Salesforce Blue Wolf report. And so this is important to note, because what we see in this is that once Salesforce is implemented, the value doesn't end there in the investment. And so if the value doesn't end there, if there's more return on the investment each year, then they need a professional, us, to come behind them and help in building out the solution. And one of the most important parts about this quote, for me, is the value. 66% of companies believe Salesforce delivers more value. So the key word here is value. See, the value for us, for me as a Salesforce professional, is that in my role, I get to provide a fun, a challenging, and engaging solution to end users. You see, the majority of what I spend my time doing and what most Salesforce professionals do is they're providing solutions to problems for the end user. And so my job is to identify roadblocks for our end users and eliminate those roadblocks. And in doing so, lots of the terms that we get called, hero, Superman, magician, best guy in the whole world, that's my favorite. Best guy in the whole world. And you hear these things all the time, because what you're doing and why it's so fulfilling to be a Salesforce professional is because really we are allowing our peers to execute on their job responsibilities more effectively. It's a beautiful thing. So in summary, it is clear, it is evident that there is a demand for Salesforce professionals due to the rapidly increasing ecosystem and the number of sales. And there's a need for Salesforce professionals because of the ever-increasing rate of adoption and the value that Salesforce presents to the organizations. A career working within Salesforce builds highly transferable skill sets. So that's very important, because what you can understand from the Salesforce platform is if I'm working at the Salesforce platform at the Red Cross, at Apple, or at Daxco, or any number of organizations, although the platform is highly customized for each one of those organizations, the skill sets and the experiences that I would be gaining, the Salesforce professional gains working in those environments, are highly transferable and highly sought after in the market. In the market, there's great demand. And as always, with great demand in any market comes great opportunity for those that can supply the demand to ask for handsome salaries. So let's talk about salaries. From a PayScale 2016 survey, we see the following salaries by role. The Salesforce administrator on median average makes around $60,000 per year. The developer, $72,000. The Salesforce business analyst, $90,000. Project managers, $95,000. Salesforce consultants, $114,000. And technical architects, $180,000. Business Insider recently released an article that said the number one best skill to have on a tech resume was to be a Salesforce technical architect and the experience and certifications that go along with that. The number one best skill to have on a resume was aligned with our platform. And I would actually contest that in my personal job search around Birmingham and Atlanta, that I believe these numbers, these salaries presented here, actually may be a bit low because I have received numerous offers from companies in Birmingham and Atlanta for six-figure salary with wonderful benefits to both manage existing Salesforce organizations, implementations, to implement Salesforce, and to lead Salesforce teams. So, Salesforce is a growing, high-demand application with unlimited opportunity for you to get in. And in my personal story, in 3 years, I have tripled my salary because 3 years ago, I bet on the Salesforce ecosystem. And I believe that bet has paid off. I believe it paid off for me, and I believe it can pay off for you. And one way that we've done that is by consistently demonstrating an ROI. And so as a Salesforce professional, and I'm not going to touch on this long, we can actually talk about it in a later session, but as a Salesforce professional, I'm constantly demonstrating my ROI to my business executives, the ones who are hiring me. And so the way that I do this is I quantify every Salesforce project with a hard cost and a soft cost. So what is the ROI of the project that I've been assigned, the solution that I am implementing, the roadblock that we are breaking? What's the ROI on that? And then each year when I come up for review or when I'm heading to another organization to negotiate salary, I present that ROI as the hard number of what I'm worth to the organization. And that's how I begin the conversation of the number that I expect. So I take the market value of my certifications, my skill sets, my experience, and then I couple that with the ROI that I have returned for the organizations that I've worked for, and I take that as the salary that I believe that I'm worth. And thus far it's worked. So this industry is extremely lucrative, and I'm so thankful that I got in early, and I believe you have the opportunity to do so as well by following 5 simple steps. So here we go. Number 1, build a playground. One of the most significant reasons that Salesforce is such a lucrative environment to get into is because there is no barrier to entry. And so what this means is that anyone can build a Salesforce playground. Anyone has instant free access to the same enterprise application that is running in top 100 companies. And you can go to, and this link's listed here, you can go to this link and you can create your own playground. And from this playground, you can install any one of the 2,700 AppExchange applications and begin building them out and becoming an expert in them. And I've found that the best way that I have learned within the playground is to identify a problem that I would like to solve, both personally and professionally, and then build that out inside of my playground. So just for example, some things that you can do in a playground. So you could build an application on the Salesforce Playground app. You could build an app that sends you an email each and every time your piggy bank gets to a certain balance if that piggy bank is digitally accessible. Or you could design and build a solution to track the attendance of your Sunday school class. Or you could even build a mobile application that integrates with your Fitbit, and you could tell how many steps you've taken in the locations that you've been. So this is to say, the reason I give these is that I want you to understand the Salesforce Playground is an open environment for you to build anything and everything that you would like so that you can learn how to go about and work inside the Salesforce platform. And the best way, one of the best things to learn about, the best ways to learn about the Salesforce platform and the ecosystem is by joining the Salesforce community. And the Salesforce community is it's a community-led organization, and it's one of the preeminent communities in the world, online communities in the world. And it is touted, Salesforce is very proud of the community because it's community-driven for community users. And in the community, you can ask questions, answer questions, you can network well, and you can see, it provides you a number of resources in ramping up your knowledge of the ecosystem. And my favorite of all of these points about building a playground is that the playground is integrated with Trailhead. Trailhead is Salesforce's native learning platform, and it provides developers and administrators a guided learning path through the key features of Salesforce using a set of interactive self-paced tutorials. So if you're new to the platform, if you are new to Salesforce, there is simply no better way to learn Salesforce than Trailhead. So Trailhead is broken out in 3 different components. There are trails, there are modules, and there are projects. So there are 19 plus trails right now, and they're growing every day. When I actually created this slide 2 weeks ago, there were 17. I had to go in last night and change this. So that's how quickly this is changing. There are 19 trails, and trails are guided learning paths through modules and projects. And what that means is it gives you a personal game plan for how to learn what it is that you're looking for. So there are trails such as the advanced administrator, the beginning administrator, the sales user. And so you can go in and you can find the trail that most aligns with where you are and what you're looking to do in your career, and you can complete that trail faster than you ever thought possible. So those are trails, and then there's modules, and modules make up the trails. And modules introduce you to very specific components and features within Salesforce. And so if you're looking to implement a new functionality within your organization, or if you've just read something in the community that's piqued your interest, you can go into Trailhead and there's most likely a module about that feature. And by using the module inside of Trailhead, it provides an interactive and engaging and fun way to learn about that feature. And because it integrates with your playground, you're actually completing challenges inside a real-world scenario. So when you come away completing the trails and the modules, you have actually built something, a viable solution. And then finally, projects. Projects give you hands-on experience of implementing the solutions that you learn about in the trails and the modules. And by completing these projects, you can learn Salesforce technologies faster than you ever thought would be possible. And the cherry on top of Trailhead for me is that Trailhead badges, so as you complete trails, complete modules, complete projects, you earn badges, and for each badge, you can integrate it with your LinkedIn profile, and those badges will carry over automatically to your LinkedIn profile. And so what does that mean for you as beginning your Salesforce career? It means that recruiters who are in the Salesforce space are knowledgeable about Trailhead. They're knowledgeable about Trailhead badges. They know what features and functionality they're looking for in a user, and they can look on your LinkedIn that's integrated with your admin playground, and they can say, yes, this professional has accomplished this. They are aware of this feature, and not only are they aware, but they're knowledgeable enough that they've completed these projects and these trails in that. So I may have photoshopped this picture. Trailhead is not actually played on a Nintendo, but it is very fun, it is very engaging, it's an enjoyable experience. And I wanted this picture because Trailhead, I've found personally that I have completed my most badges, I've learned my most when I have completed my Trailhead trails in unison, in groups. And so that is the number 3 step to starting your Salesforce career, is joining a user group. And with over 200 user groups around the world, you're most likely going to have a user group in your own backyard. I'm the co-leader of the Birmingham area Salesforce user group. There are countless Atlanta user groups. Find one, they're close. Join the user group. It's the absolute best way for you to network locally with Salesforce professionals. And it provides a way for you to learn more about the platform and learn about how other organizations are using the platform. And let alone, it allows you to meet local Salesforce talent that can answer questions you may have about job searching or questions you may have about implementing Salesforce within your organization. And so each month at the Birmingham area Salesforce User Group, we cover a topic that we believe will provide value to our members, and we provide an environment that promotes networking between our members. And so we have a twofold purpose. We want to train them and teach them something they've never seen before, and we want to allow them an opportunity to network. And so for you, as a beginning Salesforce professional, you have to join a user group. You have to network. You need to make those connections in your community. And my number one recommendation for any new Salesforce professional is to join a local user group and find someone that has done what you are looking to do. So find a mentor, and we can talk for hours, and I thought about presenting this, hours of solutions of ideas, thought leaders, on why a mentorship is vital for a budding career. When you're in your infancy stage of building a career, it's vital to have a mentor. And so what I would propose to you is join a user group, identify the mentor, identify the person within your network that could be your mentor, and make the ask. Ask them to invest just a bit of their time into you, to tell them how it was that they became the admin, or how they became the developer, how they started their consultancy. Find the path that you want to go on, find someone who's achieved that path, and ask them to be your mentor. Have a conversation with them, ask them out for lunch. It's an extremely valuable approach to networking, and it will absolutely provide you resources that you can get no other way except through experiential learning. So once you have built your playground, and you've mastered all things Salesforce by completing Trailhead, and you have an alumni in your back pocket because you've joined a Salesforce user group, you're ready to begin building your personal brand. And the best means to do this is by sharing your skills with the nonprofit world. And so step 4 is to share your skills. So once you have a working knowledge of Salesforce, you can begin applying that knowledge to real-world scenarios by volunteering with the 24,000 plus nonprofits or higher ed Salesforce companies. And volunteering allows you to build a resume of real-world projects that are completed that allows you to work in multiple Salesforce organizations. So Salesforce platforms. It allows you to see the customization of multiple Salesforce instances. And this is valuable because this is the most sought after attribute for a Salesforce consultant. So if you were to apply for any Salesforce consultancy role, they're going to ask, how many orgs have you worked in? And so by volunteering with these nonprofit organizations, it allows you to dip your hand into these organizations, it allows you to meet a need of your community and give back, and it allows you to build your portfolio of completed projects. And nonprofits all over the world are finding the value of Salesforce because through the Salesforce.org organization, they are allowed 10 free licenses. And so if you weren't aware of this, Salesforce allows nonprofits free access to their platform for utilization. And so that's why there are so many Salesforce nonprofit customers, and that's why there's a pool for you to begin volunteering with. And by volunteering, you're continuing to build this robust catalog of Trailhead badges and Salesforce projects, and all of those things can be added to your LinkedIn profile, which once again is grabbing the eye of the Salesforce recruiter. So, once you've built your playground, you've mastered all things Salesforce with Trailhead, you have an expert in your back pocket because you've joined a user group, and you've shared your skills, you are ready to demonstrate to the world your expertise and knowledge by earning your certifications. So, Salesforce certification is the easiest way to validate yourself as a Salesforce professional. Certification communicates skill and expertise and can validate your knowledge of the Salesforce platform. So the Salesforce market is hot, which means that there are many, many applicants for each and every role. And more than likely, the organization that's hiring for a Salesforce professional is hiring with the requirement of a Salesforce certification. So don't play yourself out of receiving an offer because you don't have certifications. Rather, play yourself to be the stronger hand by having the most. Salesforce certifications are relatively cheap and are an amazing investment in your career. 3 years ago, I sat down, I took 2 months and $2,000, and I went through 5 certifications. 3 years later, I've tripled my salary. It's an amazing investment in you and yourself and your career. So in Denver, there was a user group survey that said the average pay of a Salesforce expert with no certification was $69,000. So a Salesforce professional with no certification, $69,000 was their annual salary. The average pay of a Salesforce professional in that user group with one certification, just one simple certification, jumped to $86,000. That's a difference of $17,000 for a $200 investment. There is absolutely no better investment in your career as a Salesforce professional than investing in Salesforce certification. And certs are critical to your success, and Salesforce has made the process of receiving certifications very, very simplistic. You can go to certification.salesforce.com and see the number of different paths that they have. So they have the admin path, the implementation expert path. So if you want to be a consultant or an admin, developer, advanced developer, they have expert marketers, and then they have the technical architect. So there are a number of paths for you to follow, and they guide you through that. And if you have any questions about Salesforce certifications, reach out to the Salesforce University, which is the entity that manages Salesforce certifications. They are absolutely the best organization to handhold you and walk you through the process of what you need to know, what you need to learn, and how to go about receiving your certifications. And so there are too many resources really for me to list. Of all of the resources out there, they're available to help you learn and pass your certifications and to decide which certifications are best for you and meet your past experiences and will place you at a point where you are most likely to receive the Salesforce professional job. But I would like to recommend two blogs to you. sfdc99.com, so salesforce.com 99. So it's Salesforce for the 99% of us. sfdc99.com and adminhero.com. And on both of those sites, search for Salesforce certification, and you'll see their blog posts about how to become certified, which certifications to pursue, and then the exact steps that you can take, the exact steps that I took to receive your certifications. So, in summary, I've just shared the 5 steps to jumpstart your Salesforce career and how to find and create a position that builds highly sought after skills, is fun and challenging, and it creates an acclaimed personal brand, and it pays more than you ever could have imagined. And so with that, I just want to open us up to questions. Yes.